What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the TCG Empire YouTube channel. Today we are going over Meta Monday. If you're new here, you're not sure what it is, it's where we take a deck that's been doing good, kind of highlight it on the channel. Now, this week we are doing Ace. Ace kind of did just get hit, so this list will not be as efficient after this week, but considering this is the last week that Ace can be played this way, I figured I'd showcase it on the channel. If you guys aren't aware, there was a new limited card section that has been put under Bandai's rules for One Piece during set 3. It may be lifted in set 4, but it means that the 9-drop Edward Newgate, the 4-drop Marco, as well as Radical Beam can only be ran at 1. So this means that this deck list isn't going to be as efficient anymore, but we do still have one more week with it, so I figured I would showcase it. So this is the deck profile we're rocking today. We have 4 Otama, 4 Edward Newgate, 3 Jozu just for 2Ks, plus it has Rush because we are a Whitebeard Pirates type. We have 3 Ace, again with Rush minus 3K. Then we have 4 Machino, 4 Marco, 4 Izo for search, Buggy in order to search the events. There's 4 of the 5-drop Marco, which pops a 3K or less, and then it also can be returned by getting rid of events. And then we have 4 Radical Beam, 4 Seaquake, 4 Whitebeard Pirates, 2 Flame Emperor, and then 2 Guard Point. So overall, this deck's a ton of fun to play. It's a shame that it's not going to be able to be played this way anymore, but definitely is something fun to check out. Again, this gameplay is kind of long. There's a lot of thinking involved with it, so as always, I hope you guys do enjoy today's video. If you do, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Alrighty, guys, so here we are playing Ace. Before the ban hits at the end of the week, we're gonna see exactly what we can do. Looking at this start, I'm actually pretty okay with this because we can Izo into Buggy, so I think we will be solid with this start. So we do get 2 Buggies, so I think the first thing we'll do is we'll Izo. Grab the 5-drop Marco, and then we can do Buggy. And for the event, honestly, we're playing against Garp, so we're not going to need as much quote-unquote removal. I think what we'll do is we'll grab Radical Beam, just so that way as later turns go on, we have a 4K counter to kind of work with. So, and we do have the Flame Emperor in a few turns as well, so we have some good board control, things like that. So there's the -1 to our Buggy. So we do have a 6K. We will happily take that. We just need to see some more cards, go from there. The nice thing about Ace is that we can constantly have, you know, a good amount of pressure and go from there. So there's the brand new. Grab a Navy card and add it to their hand. Trash the remaining. So see what they grab. So they grab a Borsalino and they do trash a Kuzan as well as a Shockwave. Interesting. So we do have 3 Edward Newgates in hand. Not really what I'm looking for, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So we do have Whitebeard Pirates. I think what we'll do, honestly, is we'll play Buggy just to kind of grab some more events, get set up for future turns. And then I think we'll start applying some pressure since it's a 2-cost leader. So we'll do a 5K swing. We can actually use the Whitebeard Pirates. Is there anything else that we really need to get, though? I don't think so. So I think what we'll do, we'll just do a 6K swing, see what he chooses to do. So they do drop a 2K for the first swing, and then we'll just do a normal 6K swing, go from there. Thankfully, with the events too, we do have technically 1,000 counter for every event card that we choose to get rid of, or it's stage cards, things like that. So they do end up dropping their hand some more, so they're down to 4 cards, 5 with the draw. But if they choose to play a card, then they're to 4. So should be pretty okay. If he chooses to use brand new and target the Buggy, that's fine. If he plays the Borsalino, that's fine too. Just gets us closer to kind of what we want to do. And with having the Marco and having events in our hand, that means that our Marco is basically always live. So we're in a a pretty solid spot. We can apply the aggression when it comes to ace and go from there. So seems as though Brownu's gonna do a 4K swing on the buggy. That's fine. There's a 5K swing at our ace. We'll take that. Borsellino's probably going to come down for the blocker. So we do get a 2K, which is Otama. We do have the access to Whitebeard Pirates. Things like that. So we're going to try and diminish his hand as much as possible, and then we'll start going for life. So we are at 6. So I think the first thing that we'll do is, since the Whitebeard Pirates is technically counter, we'll just use the Ezo. We'll grab the Marco. Marco's good, it adds pressure, it's a blocker, so we'll do a 3K swing into the brand new. If he wants to save it, that's fine. I'm just testing his hand more so right now, because he either dumps a card or he wastes the block, and if he wastes the block, that's fine. Okay, so he lets it go, which is fine. Let's see. We could play the Marco now, so that way we have a blocker. But I think what I want to do, I want to get this Marco down first, just so that way it's on board. And then with this, we'll do a 6K swing, and we'll get rid of the Whitebeard Pirates, just so that way we can have a 6K. And then if he chooses to block, we still hit it. If not, we hit his life, and we can start kind of putting on our aggression and the pressure that we need to. So, seems as though he does get a trigger. So if he did get the shockwave trigger, he can't KO the Marco, which is good. If he chooses to get rid of Ezo, that's fine. He gets rid of a shockwave. So now that's 2 shockwaves down. Don't have to worry about the rest. And he is at 7. So he can play down another Borsellino. Go from there, but I think we're pretty okay. And we do have 2 events in hand, or 3 events in hand if this Marco does get KO'd by any reason, but I doubt that it will. And then we're just going to start kind of playing it slow in the next couple turns, just building up towards Whitebeard and going from there, and then applying as much pressure as possible. So there's another brand new. So you're going to look at the top 3, grab 1. He chooses to grab Isho, trashes 2. There's a 2K counter gone, as well as another brand new, so almost out of searchers. We're gonna have to see what our opponent chooses to do. And thankfully, with the Marco being at 6K, it matches the Borsellino on our turn, so we're able to kind of play things safely. And I think what we'll do next turn is we'll put on the Marco and go from there. So there's a 5K swing onto the buggy. That's fine. There's the Kuzan. Kuzan might be a little bit annoying in terms of our board, but I don't think it's going to be too troublesome. So we'll play down the Marco, and then we'll go... I think we'll go Ezo. Maybe try and find an ace. So we do get a Whitebeard Pirates card. So we'll grab the Marco. We could have grabbed the event, but it's not too bad. So let's see. We'll do a 6K swing first. I don't want to burn any events just yet. I want to wait to burn the events till I'm either in the blocking phase or our opponent decides to kind of put themselves in a awkward situation. Sorry about that. Okay, so they choose to get rid of a 1K counter, so that should be all of their... Oh no, they choose to take it. Okay, that's fine. And then with this, Rad Beam becomes live. It'd be a 7K swing, that block. So yeah, we'll do a 7K swing just to apply some pressure. Maybe get the blocker out of the way or force them to waste a counter or 2Ks. So they choose to counter, let the Borsellino live, that's fine. So next turn we are at 10, so we can start setting up the new gates. I feel like we're at a comfortable position with life, and we do have access to Radical Beam, and we have a blocker on board. Being at 10, we'll be able to new gate plus still have one open for Radical Beam, so... And then after we get the new gate out, if we want to do back-to-back, we can, or we can do Flame Emperor and go from there, so... Okay, so there's the Sakazuki. So Sakazuki can pop basically anything. If he chooses to pop the Marco here, that's fine. So, okay, so he chooses to block the blocker Marco, which is fine. I kind of expected that to happen. Next turn, I feel like we're still in a pretty solid spot. So we could even Flame Emperor to get rid of the Sakazuki, and then kind of force the block unless he wants to take 2. So let's see. 6k swing. The 6k swing, it might be weird, but I think what I'm gonna use is the Otama. Let's see, because then that goes there. I can do that, pop that, that forces the block. So yeah, I'm fine with that. Because I'm going to leave 2 open for Radical Beam next turn, and I'm going to Flame Emperor to get rid of the Sakazuki, so... Okay, so a 5k swing. Probably going to go into the leader. So 5k, that's fine. So we can use the trigger effect. We could grab Ace. Ace could be pretty good. So, okay, so we do get Ace. So now the question is, do I want to go for Ace or do I want to go for Flame Emperor? Let's see. If I use 7, attach one here, 7 into 5. Then he possibly blocks, and then he has to deal with a double strike. I'm pretty fine with that, actually. So yeah, we'll do a 7k swing, because this will force him to burn the counter in his hand or block, whichever he, chooses. But either way, we're going to be able to clear a good portion of his board, and then we still have access to 2 Radical Beams on the defense, and then next turn on the offense, we kind of start going from there. Okay, so we force him to waste a 2k counter, which is fine. Then we'll use Flame Emperor. We'll get rid of the Sakazuki. We still have 2 Dawn plus an 8k swing, so this is an 8k double strike. We'll leave these in hand, but we have an 8k double strike, which means he'll take all of his life. He has to try and win next turn, and since we do have Radical Beams as well. Okay, so he chooses to save the Borsalino, which I understand, but I don't think that it's fully correct. If he puts 4 here and swings 7, I block that. Then he has 6 Dawn left. Puts 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. So he could go 7, 7, 7, 7. But that's really it. He only has 2 cards in hand too. So I think we're in a decent spot, just kind of playing the slow game. We could even take life here, and then next turn Edward Newgate and go from there. So Let's see. There's a -2, -3. So he's gonna swing 5k. Okay, here's a -4. Okay, so there's a 5k swing. Let's see. I think what I'll do, I can clear a lot of his board next turn. So I think what I'll do is I'll take force and kind of go from there. Plus we have 2 Marcos, which means that we have 2 blockers potentially for next turn as well. So okay, so there's a 6 and a 6. We'll just use a radical beam. It's a little bit excessive, but it does save the Marco, which means that we can kind of start swinging next turn onto these characters. Let's see. We'll get rid of 1 Marco. Now let's see what he chooses to play. So it does get blocker, and he can play a character with CP in its type from the trash and rest it. Okay, so he chose not to grab any. Interesting. So we could go ace and potentially clear his board. And then we have these left from there to there. That doesn't seem too bad. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll use, let's see, what's the best way to go about this? Can he win next turn? If I leave 1 open for Rad Beam, he has to deal 2 points of damage next turn. So I could go 5 into 5, then he blocks, and then 6 into that. Then it forces him to attack with his blockers. Then we go from there. I have access to Rad Beam, Machino. I think, honestly... Okay. This might be weird, but I could play Marco, that way I have the blocker, and then that gives me kind of more Dawn to work with. I think I'm settled on the ace play. So yeah, we'll go ace, and then we'll go -3, and then we'll go -3. So then we'll go 2 into 2. And he either has to dump his card or waste a blocker. And with having 3 open and having Rad Beam plus Machino, I don't think that I'm going to lose next turn. So. Okay, so we'll do a... We'll do 5k swing into 2 just to get rid of it. If he chooses to block, that's fine. He lets it go, which is fine. That's exactly what I wanted. And then what we can do is, let's see. We can go 8 into the 6. That way, if that's a 2K, he still can't block it. Then he loses the Borsalino too. Okay, so he lets it go. That's fine. They're gonna draw 2 trash too. And then, so they get rid of a 2K. And then they also get rid of, having these 3 Whitebeards in hand is super clunky. I can see why people stress over playing this deck. There's the -2 to the ace, which is fine. And then we'll just do a 6K swing on here. And even if he splits the Dawn, if he does a 10K swing and anything else, we should be okay. I should be able to survive this turn, and then next turn we can just Emperor into the double. Or potentially, you know, clear his board, go from there. So, and we have access to the Marco next turn. So let's see what our opponent decides to do. So it gives -2 to the ace, which is fine. Okay. Let's see. So they could do 8-8-7, but even then we'll only take 1 point of damage. There's a 5 into a 2. I'm fine with that. And then that means that they have to swing with the Borsalino too, if they choose to swing like that. So there's a 7K. We'll use it as a regular counter effect. There's the Kaku. So they can KO the ace, which is fine. Then they only have 1 card in hand. Alright, so we did draw a second Machina, which is good. So I think what we'll do is, let's see. It might seem a bit excessive, but I'm going to swing 8. Because then if he blocks, then it's a 2K. So yeah, that's fine. Then we'll play the Marco. And then with the ace, what we'll do is we'll swing for 7K. Sorry, 8K. Our opponent can block, or they can take it. Whichever they prefer. So they do take it. Now we end our turn. So now we have 2, 4, 5. So we have 5K worth of power, and then Marco is in play. So we do have a block as well. Let's see what our opponent can do. So we can swing 7K, which would be a little bit annoying. So there's the 8K. So they give -1 to the Marcos. There's a 9K swing. So we can honestly bring the Marco back too, which is good. So they use the Kaku. And we can use the card action, get rid of a new gate to bring it back. And then if we can actually survive and not take any points of damage this turn, we should be okay. And if they choose to leave 2 open and just do a 5K swing, we should be okay. Because we can Fire Fist and then also swing on this Kaku to kind of clear his board. Get rid of the Borsalino, go from there. So there's a 5K swing. Honestly, we'll let this go. We'll use the card action, bring it back. So there's a 9K swing. The 9K I'm okay with taking. We do get another Marco as well. So we get Marco and we also get Ace, which is good. So we could Flame Emperor. Get rid of this Kaku. And then gonna start swinging on his board. We might not have to tap this Marco, which might be good. Or we could get 2 blockers out and then have swing. Force the block. Go from there. So, what's the best way to go about this? Let's see. So we can KO, swing 8K. We could swing 10K actually on this. Then it's KO'd and then we still have a blocker too. So yeah, that sounds fine. So yeah, we'll do this and then we'll swing 10K. It lets it go, which is fine. And then we'll just do a 6K swing. That way if he blocks with the Borsalino, he has no board. Then we have a blocker on board. Okay, so we choose to take. Alright, so now let's see what we can do. If he splits his Dawn and goes 10-10, we lose. But if he doesn't, then we can win. And then that means that he has to swing with the blocker. Okay, so there's the Sakazuki. A little bit unfortunate, but he can only swing 9K now, which is good. So we can actually use the card action, bring it back, go from there. So we might actually be able to squeak out a win here, depending on how he chooses to swing. If he chooses to swing with the Borsalino, then we lose. But if he chooses to leave Dawn open, then we're okay. So let's see. So he has 1 Shockwave left, possibly. He could go 7-7, and then we lose. So he goes 5K. We could get rid of the... Let's see. we'll let this go. I could bring it back with the ace. And then that means if he swings with the Borsellino, then I have 3 attacks potentially. Or I could just play the ace straight down next turn and still have 3 attacks. You know what? This is what we'll do. We use the card action. We'll get rid of a Marco to bring the Marco back. And then we just have to hope that he doesn't swing 9k with the Borsellino. So, okay, so he has 2 blockers. He has 1 card in hand, and we're going to have 4 attacks. So, we should be okay. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ace. We'll go minus, minus. Let's see. Just to make sure, we'll go 7. Then he blocks, then he blocks. Then we'll do a 7k swing again. Then we'll do a 7k again. And even if this is a counter, then alright. Now, that game took way too long, but I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next one.